We are on the eve on a vote of that disastrous piece of legislation that I call the big, ugly, audacious piece of crap bill that kills. So get your pencils out. I want you to write down this number, 202-224-3121. Again, that's 202-224-3121. That is Capitol Hill's switchboard phone number. Call your senators. Call the senators of your family members if they ain't calling. Call your Congress people, because the bill is going to go back to the Congress, and tell them to kill this bill.
Kill it.
Right?
Yeah, kill it.
And we're going to tell you why.
So we've been talking about this bill quite frequently. And then in the chat, after you've said hello, let us know which part of this bill you hate the most.
And if you're watching from the future, hey, y'all, hope the future's great. Let us know in the comments which part of this big, beautiful bill you hate the most.
Yeah,
Right?
So Halisi spent the last 20 years working with stakeholders to pass legislation at the city, state, and federal level.
Right. And as you know, this is our fourth summer here in Portugal, in Lisbon, Portugal. And we've had to navigate the legislative changes both in our home country, or our birth country, I should say, in our birth country and here in Portugal.
So listen up, because we're going to explain some important info for Black Americans already living abroad and for those considering living abroad.
Yeah. And for our utopians who are not American, listen up. Because these questions that we are going to pose, these are the questions that you may have to consider as more and more governments start, tending towards these austere measures, right? We've seen government after government after government go more towards the right? And so even if you live in Canada, Australia, UK, or some other country, right? Pay attention, because we've seen a trend, and this trend has been global. And so these are the questions that you're going to want to ask to make sure that you are protected, your family's protected, and that your government is not doing things to harm you.
Yeah.
Okay? All right. So, hey, y'all. My name's Halisi.
And I'm Rick. Welcome to our Black Utopia.
On our channel, we talk about money, we talk about travel, and life abroad. We help folks who look like us, who are Black and getting close to retirement age. We help them get their money straight so that they can retire on time, or maybe even abroad.
Abroad and early is even better. Sooner the better.
All right, sweetie. So what are we talking about today?
Okay, so we're talking about a new bill could devastate Black retirees, and the essential information that you need to know. So first, we'll summarize the lawfare in the bill that is explicitly directed at our community, the Black community.
That's right. That's right. If you see me looking over here, it's because I'm looking at our notes. We've got notes all over the place, y'all. But you'll want to stick around until the end, because we will discuss the changes in foreign tax credit, tax changes on 401k withdrawals, student loan changes. Look, y'all. This bill is a mess. It is a mess. But first, if you're new to our channel, then you might not know. Back in 2018, Rick and I got a wake-up call, y'all. We looked at our money and it looked crazy.
Crazy.
But we got our financial act together, and we went from negative 22,000 to over 1.1 million in net worth.
Why do you shoot that side eye at me?
If we can do that,
you can do it too.
You can do it too. So if any of this sounds interesting to you, please subscribe. We are trying to get to 100,000 subscribers, because we know that this is information that our community desperately needs. All right. Hit that notification bell twice so that you know every single time that we go live or drop a new video. Right. And
join us.
Yes.
Become a member.
Become a member. If you want to support this channel, become a member. We were just chitty-chatting with our utopians right before this. We get together behind the scenes every single Sunday with our utopians. So join the channel, become a member, and you will get to chitty chat with us behind the scenes. If you're at the Legends level, you'll be able to come on air. You'll get discounts to other stuff, et cetera, and so and exclusive content just for members only. So all of our kind of like behind the scene lives and things like that, those are for members only. So become a member.
Yes.
Become a member. All right. Let's get right to it, because this big, beautiful bill threatens Black wealth and threatens Black retirement. Yes, student loans, Ailey, student loans. So we are going to, we're going to go over just the general implications on the Black community. Some of the stuff we have talked about before, so we're going to go over that part really, really fast. And then the parts that we haven't talked about before, we will go a little bit more in depth. And then we'll say hello to the folks who are in the chat before we start getting to the changes in the taxes, filing, and all of this stuff, y'all. All of this stuff. I mean, what are they really trying to do? So they read all 900 pages overnight. It was over our night. It started at 11 o'clock last night, I believe, right? And I don't know if they're still reading. I heard it was going to take somewhere between 15 and 20 hours. So I don't know if they're still reading. I wish Chuck Schumer had stood up before it got to this point, but he finally stood up and he's delaying it and he's making them read all of it. Now, of course, if mainstream media does not cover what is in the bill, then it doesn't, it's just a delay tactic.
That's it. Right?
And this delay tactic gives you time to call your senator and tell them to kill the bill. Again, the number is 202-224-3121. Let's take that Capitol Hill switchboard down. All right? Let's take it down. All right. So the big, beautiful bill's racial wealth implications. Massive wealth transfer to those who already have wealth. But we already know that. Y'all already know that this bill is due to deliver a tax break to the top 10% of the top 1%.
Right.
The top 10% of the top 1%, right? So we're really, really talking about the Bezos and the elongated muskrats of the world. That's who we're talking about. And I'm not sure if any of our people qualify for that. I mean, even the Bob Roberts of the world and stuff and people like that, right? That's the gentleman who I think he started BT, the one who paid for everybody's Johnson, who paid everybody's tuition over at
Robert Johnson.
Was that? I think that was right.
That was another guy.
Was that?
He paid all the
Was that another guy? Okay. Either way it goes, both Johnsons, if they were both Robert Johnsons, because it's a very common name. I don't think they're the top 10% of the top 1%, right? I don't think she's the top 10% of the top 1%. Oprah does not have Elon Musk.
Well, no.
Or Jeff Bezos money.
Billion, no.
Right? Like maybe she's got 500, 600, 700 million, but not like, or maybe even $1 billion, but not like 400 billion, like hundreds of billions. That's crazy money, y'all. That is crazy money. And the reason for this bill is to give the oligarchs, this is who we are fighting. It is the oligarchs. It has been that way since Reagan. No, it has been that way since the beginning of this country. We fight them, they come back. We fight them, they come back. We fight them, they come back. All right. And they're the ones who created the term white people, right? They're the ones who do the divide and conquer strategy, right? They are mentally ill. Okay. Those people are mentally ill.
Somebody asked if we could pin that number. They missed
it. Which number?
The 202 switchboard number.
Oh, yeah. I will here, I will put it in the chat right now. So the switchboard number, switchboard is 202-224-3121. Okay, I'm putting it in the chat right now. There you go. So yeah, we definitely need to go ahead and call, because the top 10% of the top 1% does not need, nor are they asking for a tax break. What they want is power and control. That's what they want. They want us to bow down and just put up with the nonsense like we did in the late 1800s.
Yeah.
So what else is going to happen?
They're gonna have cuts to social safety nets. We already talked about the cuts to Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP, food assistance, and other programs.
Right.
We all know someone that is on one of these programs.
Right. And just know, Medicaid is the foundation of the Affordable Care Act, of ACA, of Obamacare. All right. And it can be called different things in different states. Right. So for instance, in California,
Medi-Cal.
Medi/Cal. That's cute, California. So it spells medical, right?
Yeah.
Medi-Cal.
In Oklahoma, it's called Sooner Care.
And in Massachusetts, it's called Mass Health. You get it? Right. And so you might not know that the healthcare that you have is through Medicaid, or the program that you're on is through Medicaid, or the program that grandma's on, or the program that cousin's on, or the program that auntie's on, right? Is Medicaid, because it's not called Medicaid in every single state. As a matter of fact, I think it's called Colorado Connect in Colorado.
It's also an attack on Black middle class pathways.
But we knew that. We knew that. And we've talked about that, right? We've already discussed how they have been gutting the federal government and civil service jobs. They have been trying to do that ever since the 60s. Why? Because once we passed the Civil Rights Amendment, the government had to follow those rules, right? And so civil service jobs, federal government jobs, etc., we as Black folks have always been overrepresented. That has been our pathway to middle and upper middle class, especially after we started integrating, and a lot of our Black teachers that were teaching in Black schools were not hired in those white schools, right? And so once we lost that opportunity, we gained another opportunity with the government, who had to follow the rules that they put in place. Ever since that happened, Republicans have been biting on the chomp, biting on the bit, or whatever it is, whatever the analogy is, to get rid of. Why do you think they always talk about small government? They don't talk about small government because they don't want to pay taxes for the roads outside of their house. They're not talking about small government because they don't want to pay for the sewers underneath their city, or the electricity grid, or for the cops in there that come to their neighborhood, or the libraries and the rec center in their neighborhood, et cetera, et cetera. That's not why they want small government. They want small government because they don't want us to have those good government jobs and them good government pensions. Because when we have good government jobs and them good government pensions, we start paying attention to what the hell they're doing, because now we have time. Right now we have time. Now we're not having to work 2 and 3 jobs, and we're paying attention. And if we're paying attention, then we're not voting for them. We're voting against them, because we realize that the Republicans have been, since the 60s, a party that wants to take away rights, not expand rights or protect rights. And so when people keep saying there's no difference between the Democrats and the Republicans, when it comes to some corruption and who's being paid by who, yeah, you kind of right. But when it comes to legislation, there's a big difference. One party expands rights, always expands rights, and one party contracts and takes away rights. And I don't include the right to have a machine gun, a right that you need. So don't even get into the comments about that stuff. All right. Dynastic wealth and reduced mobility. They are doubling the estate tax exemption. Doubling it. So for those who are building generational wealth, this could actually be a good thing, right? This could be a boom, but this will take a chunk out of the nation's income, which then requires cuts to the vital programs like Job Corps, right?
Yeah.
This bill will be the biggest wealth redistribution in my adult lifetime.
Yeah, of course, this will widen the wealth gap and eliminate programs and career paths that increase Black wealth.
That's right. That's right. So the bill's benefits overwhelmingly go to those who already have wealth or who are white. All right, bottom line. Let's just call a spade a spade. The costs through program cuts and lost opportunities fall heaviest on those who need it the most, those with the least. All right, which because of longstanding economic disparities, we know that this means Black families have a lot of ground to lose if this legislation passes, and it probably is.
And the result isn't just inequality, it's a
Mhm.
deepening of the racial wealth gap that has defined American economics for
For
generations.
generations, y'all. For generations. For generations. I cannot tell you how many times at one of these corporate jobs I had some well-meaning white person ask me, how come when I go in Black neighborhoods, all the houses are in such ill repair? These are people who don't know their history. That's who these people are. All right, let's see who is in the chat. Y'all know the drill. Put a Q in front of your question. I gotta remember to turn this banner off because sometimes even on Thursdays it's still running. Oops, go away. All right. So we are gonna say hello to folks who are in the chat. Allison, good to see you.
Hey,
Hola,
Allison.
hola, hola. Hello, Deneen
Deneen.
Rogers, Miss Kyla O. We've got Expert Ease Tax Hub, and Greta's in the house.
Hey, Greta.
And of course, Action VJ. Hit that
Action
like
VJ.
button as you come in. Definitely, definitely, definitely.
Hey, Ailey.
Hey, Ailey. Good to see you. Hello, Halisi and Rick, as well as the rest of the OBU family. We love to see you. Biz Help Guru. Oh, business help. All right. All right. Do you have a YouTube channel, Biz Help Guru? Let us know. You can't put a link, but you can tell us what the name of your channel is. Jay Cross. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, hey, Gwen and Derek Travels. We miss you guys already. We miss you already, right, Greta? It's good to see you. Brown Skin Girl is in the house.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello, Deborah. Who else? We got Laura is in the house. The ABX girl is in the house.
Yvette.
We've got Vanessa, Travel Artistry by VR on the Move. Blair is in the house. Tana Rose, good to see you. Kim Warfield is in the house. We love you guys. TCB Pathways 999. 999. Hey, Khadijah. Good to see you. Killer Queen is in the house.
Killer Queen.
Fran, Soul, Jess, it's good to see you all. Black Art Appraiser Advisor. Good to see you guys. Hello, friends. Hello, family. Hello, Utopians. We love you. We love you. We love you. We love you. If you are not a member of the channel, if you are not a Utopian, if not, why not? Join us. Help make sure that this channel can stay on. Look, y'all, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. But what I do know is that the American government is out of control. What I do know is that it appears that anyone who speaks against the melon felon is in the crosshairs. So we're asking that you support this channel as we bring you all. Hey, Yakota, good to see you.
Hey, Yakota.
As we bring you all of the information that we learn after not being in the United States. This is our fourth summer, y'all. Our fourth summer in Portugal. Can you believe it? Can you believe it has been that long?
And remember to support independent media, y'all.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Very important.
Absolutely. Okay. And so we want to know if it put a Q in front of it. The question that we asked at the beginning was, tell us the part of the bill that you hate the most. If you don't know yet, then we're about to give you some information. All right. Foreign tax credit changes. Now, for those of you who are American, in America, you have to file a tax return when?
You have to file a tax return during tax time. You may not have to pay taxes.
Every year.
Every year.
Yeah,
during tax season,
Every
you
year.
have to file.
Yes, you have to file.
Doesn't mean you owe, but you have to file.
So the foreign tax credit itself is not eliminated, but a new provision introduces a surtax. So right now we get 128,000, I believe, you can earn 100, and it's probably down there somewhere. I think it's like
125,
120,
128,
something like that, 125 to 128,000 dollars foreign earned income. That's a credit, right? So you can earn that without, if you are no longer a tax resident of the United States, in that you have spent more than 6 months out of the United States and you are actually living in another country, something like 125, $128,000 tax credit. But now they're saying they want to introduce in this big, ugly, audacious piece of crap melon felon bill a surtax of 5 to 20% on U.S. connected income earned in countries with unfair or discriminatory tax practices as determined by the U.S. government. So there's nothing objective, like they don't have spelled out what they mean by that. It's just arbitrary.
Yeah.
Right? Like like the bans on the country, the travel bans that we talked about on Thursday. It seems arbitrary. All right.
So this surtax can reduce or nullify the benefits of the FTC for individuals and businesses operating in those jurisdictions, impacting expats in countries like France, Germany, the UK, and Canada, depending on IRS interpretations.
Depending on IRS interpretations. Really? So the aim is to penalize use of the FTC, the federal tax, the foreign tax credit. I have to remember what it stands for. Foreign tax credit, where the U.S. believes its taxpayers are treated unfairly abroad, even if high local taxes are already being paid. This sounds arbitrary and subjective. So currently, the exclusion, here it is, there it is, for 2024, allows qualifying Americans abroad to exclude up to $126,500 of foreign earned income per person. Foreign earned income does not mean that, like, say for us, we are here in Portugal. And so because we're living here, even though y'all are in the United States and y'all pay us to have a one-on-one call, because we're here, it's still technically kind of foreign earned, right? And so that foreign earned income per person, right now, we can claim $126,500 in credit that we don't have to pay income taxes on in the United States. Of course, we have to pay income taxes on it here
Portugal,
in Portugal, right? And you may or may not have to pay it in the country that you are living in. Now, Section 899 targets discriminatory or unfair foreign tax regimes.
If a country is designated as such, U.S. expats may face a surtax of 5% to 20% on the U.S. connected income and the benefits of the FEIE. What is that? FEIE? BP? And foreign tax credits could be reduced or nullified for income sourced from or taxed in those countries.
So if you move to a country that has a tax regime that or tax scheme that says, you know, for the first 5 years, you don't have to pay any taxes here, they might eliminate your foreign tax credit because you're getting such a good deal here. Because see, it doesn't say, it's really vague and unclear about how you could, like, we don't have anything to go by, nothing to go by to say, okay, which countries or which tax schemes are considered, you know, discriminatory against who, against us, against them, who knows? Because the people who write this stuff, the people who work for the melon felon are not very smart. Because the melon felon's not very smart. And he doesn't want anybody around him who he believes is smarter than him.
Yeah. Could
Portugal be included? So obviously the bill does not name any country. Okay, so there's no explicit list, but Portugal could be included if the U.S. Treasury deems its tax regime unfair or discriminatory, e.g., due to special expat tax incentives or non-habitual residence programs like we're on, but this would depend on future Treasury guidelines. Now, thank God the Treasury is nonpartisan, and supposedly they get a term that goes through one or two or three administrations. However, the melon felon has not been following the rules. So right now, I trust that this Treasury director will not do anything goofy because he seems to be about business. He seems to be about the people. He seems to be about the country and making sure the country survives.
When is his term up?
Well, he had 10 years, so he shouldn't be fired until after Trump is out of office, assuming Trump goes out of office.
Unless the Supreme Court says that they can fire him.
Unless the Supreme Court. Go ahead.
He can go against the Constitution.
Exactly. All right, let's see what you guys are talking about. And then we'll talk about expanded reporting requirements. Yeah, they, hey, PK, they do, the melon felon does whatever the melon felon wants to do. Yep. Thank you. Thank you. I knew it was in my notes. I just couldn't remember where. So we appreciate that. See, that's the thing. Our community, y'all, our community is smart. Our community is smart. And if you are trying to do something big, thank you, Greta. If you are trying to do something big, you need to be in community with like-minded people. Here, our Black Utopia, you can find community, okay? You can find community in our Facebook group, Fire Over 50, right? Where we talk about how to become financially independent, and we help each other out and crowdsource and all of that. All right, I'm marking y'all's questions. That's what I'm doing right now is I'm chitty chatting. Okay, I think I got them all. But Benita says, what middle class? I know. Hey, Rapper
Hey,
MD.
Rapper MD.
Good to see you in the chat. Y'all. I remember when you could just walk up to the White House. When you could just walk up. That was before Obama. And so ABX, I'm not sure what you were responding to. I don't know if you were talking about rich people or what.
And the other guy that we were talking about wasn't Robert Johnson, it was Robert Smith.
Oh, Robert Smith. I knew it was a really common name. I think Robert Smith had some dealings in Colorado too, because he's a real estate developer.
Yes.
Yeah. I think he was working with Cowan. Can't remember his first name. It starts with an H. If Bobby's in the audience, maybe she can remember. Diminished access to medical care. Right? Like we said, if you have private health insurance, you will still be affected by this bill because the premiums are going to go up. If you live in the suburbs of the suburbs, outer burbs, I don't know what they call that, right? Getting towards rural, right? But in between rural and suburbs, your local hospital might close. That's what's going on, right? That's what's going on. And it's like, and they're just marching full steam ahead, right into it. And so now is the time, y'all. Now is the time. You need to have your plan. Have your financial plan and have a plan to get out of Dodge if that's what you need to do. Right?
Oh, yeah.
If money is the issue, our side hustle challenge is coming up in 2 weeks. So you've got about another week and a half to sign up. We're only taking 25 people, and I think there's about 5 spots left. Okay. It's a 10-week challenge. We meet every other Saturday. We will take you from idea to launch. From idea to launch. Do you think that the Bahamas and or the Virgin Islands are a good choice to relocate to? Do you want to take that?
I mean, well, U.S. Virgin Islands.
I don't know. I don't know if it's the British Virgin Islands or the U.S. Virgin Islands. They just say the Virgin Islands.
Maybe British Virgin Islands.
Why not the U.S. Virgin Islands?
Because they under the U.S.
So here's the thing about islands, y'all. Islands are expensive.
They're very expensive because you got to import everything.
Right? You have to import everything, and so islands are expensive. They could be less expensive than the United States.
True.
Right? But be aware of that. What folks need to do first is you need to write a list of needs and wants. What do you need your new country and city to have? And what do you want your new country and city to have? All right. That's what you should do. Start there and then do a scouting trip because, I would never relocate to the Bahamas or the Virgin Islands, but that doesn't mean that that's not a good place to relocate to. That means it's not a good place for Halisi to relocate to.
And you want to make sure that it has everything that you need.
And a good chunk of what you want, right? And so there's no thriving cities on the islands. I need a city. I need a thriving city where you have street performers and all the things, right? All the things that go along with that kind of vibrant city. That's what I need. And I need water. So, so I've got the water part, right? But we don't have the thriving city part. But that's me. So you need to do a list of needs and wants, and then you need to put together a budget. And then you need to see if that budget is in line with the cost of living in the town, cities, in the places that you're looking at. All right. So our Ready to Retire toolkit, that's in the description below, has links to the databases that can get you cost of living. And we have a Move Abroad toolkit that too is in the description below that can help you walk through all of the things that we just said and more and a lot more. I don't know what you're talking. What? I don't know what you were referring to, but yeah, whatever it was, yeah, that's right. And I wanted somebody give us a super thanks, and it's not showing up. Where did it go? Because all donations to our channel, super thanks, super chat, goes to our scholarship fund for Beyond the Bling. Did they refund it or something? Let's see. Mm-hmm. For Beyond the Bling, that's our financial independence program. There it is. I don't know why it didn't star. So thank you, Dee. We really, really appreciate it. We really appreciate it. So she's a member and she donated. That little signal, that little icon by her name lets us know that she is a member. So we thank you for that. And we thank you for the donation. All our donations go to our scholarship fund for Beyond the Bling. That's our financial independence program for late bloomers. And so the community thanks you as well. If they undo my birthright citizenship, guess how much American tax I'm paying? I know that's right. Like, I mean, here's the thing. Like, they're going to have to put some guardrails around this birthright citizenship thing, right?
Yeah.
Because how far back do they want to go? Like,
right.
Whose parents, grandparents, or whatever has to be born in the United States for you to be born in the United States and be a citizen? That's number one. Number two, people have to be grandfathered in. That's not that part, right? People, now, he can do whatever he wants, obviously. But logically, people have to be grandfathered in. You can't say, oh, well, Yeah, your great grandmother was born here, but now we're deciding that unless your great 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 ever so great grandmother was born in the United States, that you're no longer a citizen.
All you could do is hurry up and wait and see.
They're playing with fire. They
They
are
are.
playing with fire. Channel is being revamped, but the gloves up channel is up. Okay, Biz Help Guru, building it out and writing a book now. All right, well, keep
Okay.
us posted, right? Because on this channel, we support each other, right? We support Black businesses, we support Black creators, we support each other. I hate it all. Like, I wonder if there's one good thing in there. Oh, I'm going to get to a good thing. Okay. So you might change your mind. There is one good thing. There is one good thing that I have found. Now, that doesn't mean there's not others, but there is one good thing that's actually better than the current situation. You'll be surprised. So stick around. And it has to do with student loans. I'm a member of, but don't know how to access you to a wealth of information. Thank you, Benita. So the membership is not showing up by your name. So it's only for not subscribers. So everyone can subscribe for free, right? All of this information is free. You can subscribe for free, and we really invite you to do that. We really are trying to get up to 100,000 subscribers, and we appreciate you guys so much. We really, really do. She says, I'm a subscriber, but don't know how to get to the chat before this for members only. Yeah. So when we say members, so there should be a join button underneath. Let's see. Become a member of this channel.
Page,
yeah. So it pops up if you're not a member. It says become a member of this channel. At least on the computer, it does. And so people pay monthly, like a small fee. And then the ones who are legends who get to come on Thursday pay a little bit more every month to help support the channel, and so that we don't have to, put too many commercials and or take sponsors. We haven't taken any sponsors yet, and we've gotten a lot of folks asking us to they wanted to be sponsors of our channel and for us to pitch their stuff. And so far, not like, no. Hi, OBU. Hey there. A while since I've been able to attend live. And we're glad you've been able to. Yeah, definitely. So, Ashira, good afternoon. Good to see you. Bonita, can't wait for our one-on-one on Wednesday. Oh, okay, great. Right. Great. Yeah. So, if you need help right now, if you're feeling anxious and you're like, look, I just need answers to my questions. I ain't got time to look at all of these videos, et cetera, et cetera. We do offer one-on-one coaching. That information is in the description below. And so, yeah. And then the ABX girl says, ICE will be larger than the FBI and Alligator Alcatraz will be open on Tuesday. If you don't know what Alligator Alcatraz is, go ahead and Google that once we are finished. Oh, yay. Thank you, Travel Lady. We've got a new member. We really appreciate you. Welcome to the Utopian. So you will start to see posts that show up, YouTube posts that show up that will give you access to the behind the scenes. And if you are a legend, to the legend information as well. So we thank you. And thank you, Greta, for putting that information in there. All right, so we're going to continue on. They're not eliminating the foreign tax credit. They're reducing it. And or adding on surtax, which is reducing it. And it's arbitrary, and it seems subjective to me. All right, I'm gonna mark that for next time. Hey, Benita, I'm not sure what you're responding to. Latrice says, I don't care what they try. We are leaving. Will account for new taxes if I must, right? Daughter will be in a UK college fall 2026. I know that's right. And I'm right behind her to Portugal. See you at the meetup next year. All right.
All right.
We will see you next year, my love. We will see you next year. Relocating to Mexico, Portugal, or any Latino based country. So Portugal's not Latino based, but get your point. Still a safe, good option for us. Yes. So not any Latino based country is no, no. Um, Obviously not El Salvador, but I would definitely consider Mexico. I would consider Costa Rica. Costa Rica is not for me because it doesn't have major cities like I like, but it's still a safe bet and an affordable bet. Of course, Rick just said Panama, so I would definitely consider that. We would also consider Colombia, and we would consider Ecuador. We know we've been getting some texts from people who are living in Brazil. And I'm not sure, so I heard Florianopolis is safe from the Brazilian folks who live here, but safety is a relative term. And so we'll hopefully be able to go visit Brazil this fall. And then I can, once I have boots on the ground, then I can give you my feeling, if I feel like I have to have my head on the swivel and stay super duper close to Rick, or if I don't feel that way. So, so Benita's saying, what if you're already retired? And to sign up for the challenge or to sign up for anything, that information is in the description of this video and almost every video that we do. Okay. So, and I'm sure, let me see, I'm going to go ahead and put the side hustle challenge in the chat right now, and then we will move on. Here we go. Boom. So, all right. Expanded reporting requirements. All right. So they're lowering the threshold for mandatory disclosure of foreign financial assets, including accounts, gifts, inheritance, under FATCA, FAFCA, or the FBAR rules. All right. So we've talked about the FBAR threshold repeatedly on this channel. If you have money, even for 30 seconds, that exceeds $10,000 in foreign bank accounts, you must file an FBAR report by April 15th. It used to be like, it was something crazy, like $50,000 per occurrence per day for each
it was
account.
Insane how much they would fine you.
That was the fine. I think they lowered it to something that's still kind of crazy, but I think it's down to like 5,000 or something. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I know that they lowered it, but I don't know what they lowered it to, because to me, it's not like filing this means that you'll owe extra taxes. This is money that you have already paid taxes on. Right. All right. But they just want to make sure that there's no money laundering going around. So the proposed changes.
So the big beautiful bill proposes lowering the FBAR and FATCA reporting thresholds through the exact new threshold is not yet specified in public summaries.
Right.
It is expected to be significantly below $10,000, meaning more expats will need to file and report even the modest foreign account balances.
Yeah. So like they could lower it down to $1,000. Really, people? I mean, 10,000. What's interesting is 10,000 is if you put $10,000 worth of cash in the bank in the United States, it's going to raise red flags, right? And so the same should be true for folks who are abroad. So I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to read these things and talk at the same time. So thank you for becoming a member. We appreciate you. Right? So the same should be true. If they lower it to like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, I mean, that's ridiculous. all of us would have to be filing these reports.
Right.
So it's just onerous. I filed a report every single year since we've been here because I don't think that we've had combined more than $10,000 in the past in an account, but just in case,
Right.
like just file it, right?
Yeah.
Just file it. It doesn't make sense not to. So more frequent filings of Form 3520 for gifts or requests from foreign individuals or entities as the exclusion threshold is reduced. So the current law says that U.S. persons must report gifts or inheritance from foreign individuals, which if you are a tax resident of another country, then I guess you are considered a foreign individual, especially like if you are gifting maybe a condo that you bought in Mexico or a condo that you bought in another country, right? So if the gift exceeds $100,000 in a year, that gifts from foreign corporations or partnerships exceeds $18,500 in a year, you've got to file a report. Now, the proposed change would be
the bill would lower the $100,000 threshold for reporting gifts or bequests from foreign individuals,
right.
requiring more frequent form 3520 filings.
Yeah. And so we don't know yet what the threshold is going to be. But again, they're lowering it like they lowered it for the FBAR situation, right? And so whatever they decide, that just means that it's just going to be more work. Now, this is not going to really be, to me, this is like whatever, right? It's just a pain in the butt, something that you should be aware of.
Yeah.
But I don't think, I don't see any changes that would necessarily hurt your well-being. Just bullshit. However, retirement accounts, 401ks, IRAs, all of those things, the withholding taxes are going to increase. Of course they are, right? Because middle class folks are the ones who have 401ks. Upper and middle class folks are the ones who have 401ks, right? The 1%, they might have a 401k, but that's like whatever, right? That's whatever, because you can only put $22,000 in it per year anyway. So they've got the majority of their assets and their wealth outside of any tax advantage account. So the current law for U.S. retirement accounts, such as an IRA or a 401k, when a U.S. citizen or resident receives distributions while living abroad, the default withholding tax is generally 30% on payments to non-resident aliens. But U.S. citizens abroad typically do not face mandatory withholding at this rate if they properly report their status and file U.S. tax returns. All right. So lower treaty rates may also apply depending on the country of residence. The proposed changes.
The bill proposes to increase the withholding tax on retirement accounts distributions for international residents up to 35% on periodic payments and 50% on lump sum withdrawals. This would significantly reduce the net retirement income for Americans living abroad, making it much more expensive to access retirement savings if you reside outside the U.S.
See how they do? See how they do? Thank you for becoming a member. See how they do? Because they want us to stay as indentured servants. They want us in servitude, y'all. So they're going to raise the tax up 5% for periodic distribution payments and up 20% for a lump sum.
50%.
Yeah, well, from 30% to 50%, that's raising it 20%, right? Who is that going to hurt? That is not going to hurt the Bezos, right? And it's probably not going to hurt, Jill or Joe, very low income person, right? But all of us in between, the people who make up the backbone, see, they know what they're doing. They want to keep us struggling so that we're not paying attention. And if we're not paying attention, they remain in power. That's what this is all about. That is what this is all about. This is what it's always been about. All right. So IRAs, 401ks, this is why we have to call. I put the number in the chat. Let me see if it's still in the thing. No, that's Side Hustle Challenge. I put the number in the chat. We'll read it again at the end, but you can go up and see it. So, accelerated filing deadline. So right now, if you live in a foreign country, the filing deadline really is, I think, June 15th. Okay. So you get an extra 2 months just automatically if you live in a foreign country. Y'all, I never do our stuff on time.
Don't admit it.
I never do it on time.
Don't admit it.
I always file before the deadline, right? So we've got our extensions in place. We legal. We doing what we're supposed to do. But I always have the best intentions on getting it done by April 15th. My tax person in the United States made the mistake, because she worked for the IRS for 25 years. And she made the mistake of telling me that more audits happen for people who file before April 15th or before, than the folks who file late. That was all I needed to hear. An excuse not to get that stuff done on time. Oh my gosh. All right. So right now, if you live in a foreign country, you have until June 15th either to file an extension or to file your taxes in the United States. The proposed changes are:
the big, beautiful bill would accelerate filing deadlines for non-resident and expat taxpayers, reducing or eliminating the automatic extension and aligning deadlines more closely with the April 15th domestic deadline.
Why?
Because they just want to F with you.
Right. Like there's no reason. And the thing is that, you've got to coordinate. You've got to coordinate with the tax system in the country where you're living. So there's a lot more that has to be put in place. And that is why, they figured out that it makes sense to give Americans who live someplace else extra time to get their stuff in order. But no, all right, I'm marking your guys' questions. After this, we're going to get to the student loan stuff. All right. So April 15th, stricter penalties for noncompliance with increased international enforcement and data sharing between tax authorities. Okay. So that's something else that's changing. More documentation required for cross-border family transfers and inheritances, especially from
high-risk jurisdictions.
That sounds like shithole countries. Is that what I'm hearing? Did I hear shithole countries? That's what that sounded like. That's what that sounded like to me.
There was something about shithole countries I wanted to say, but I'm not going to say it.
Why?
Because Rwanda and the Congo, Republic of Congo, what I saw them doing in
what are they doing
in his office, kissing his butt, because he brought peace to Rwanda and the Congo, Republic of Congo.
He didn't even know where the Republic of Congo was.
And they're in there kissing his butt.
He did not even know.
He brought peace. It's like y'all didn't know. All y'all had to do was stop fighting. That simple.
He didn't even know. Thank you, Expert Taxis Hub, for the super sticker. We really appreciate you. Our community appreciates you too. Y'all know. Francine, thank you. Thank you. Very generous. Thank you so much. That all of our super chat, super sticker, super thanks money goes to our scholarship fund for Beyond the Bling. That is our financial independence program for late bloomers. Thank you for becoming a member. Yay!
Hey,
we
welcome.
appreciate you. We appreciate you. I think the FACTA penalty for not reporting is $10,000. It's supposed to be forgiveness if under or not reporting was unintentional. And I think like for the FBAR, it might have gone down to something like that as well, and not maybe for every single day, but I know it was crazy. And it looks like they're trying to bring it back to those crazy, because people were getting like $250,000 and $300,000 fines for not reporting. I can see me renouncing my citizenship for real. Right? They're mad because everyone is leaving this dumpster fire. Yeah, I did read that applications for passports was up exponentially. I'm so glad our youngest got his passport. It's in his hands. Thank God he got it quickly.
Christopher's getting his. I just helped him.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, I sent him some cash the other day.
Okay.
I got to tell you.
Okay.
So his passport should be on the way.
More people will renounce citizenship, which they'll probably make more expensive, right? Like, see, there's 2 people so far that said, talking about renounce. Like, you would have never, like 20 years ago, could you imagine your average Black person? Not, well, I don't know. We're not average, right? We're doing something and we're thinking about something that most people don't think about. But could you imagine folks talking about renouncing citizenship? I mean, that was something that only rich people did, and some like political, person who was on the outs, like a Marcus Garvey type or something like that, right? I mean, normal people don't renounce citizenship, but I tell you, I bet you there's a lot more quote unquote average Joes, that are considering it. I'm hoping that I'm not having you repeat yourself on information I may have missed, but how difficult have they made it for us to move to Portugal? Yeah, so because we're not directly talking about moving to Portugal, but they haven't changed
made it really
anything
difficult
for
Yeah.
The only thing that they're wrestling with right now that has passed one of the chambers is changing the citizenship requirement from 5 years to 10 years, which sucks, because as it is written now, they're not going to grandfather anybody in. Hopefully, before it gets signed by the president, they will at least grandfather people in who are already in the system. So we'll see. But they haven't changed anything about the requirements to get in. No foreign entity has given me a Boeing plane to declare, right? That's all I'm saying, right? I don't have Qatar. Is Qatar offering you any planes lately?
They should have gave him an Airbus. I don't know why they gave him Boeing.
Yeah, they gave him Boeings because they know Boeings fall out. They fall out the sky. That's why they gave him one.
Yeah, give him an Airbus. Don't give him a Boeing. I was like, no, I don't want the Boeing.
No,
give me an Airbus.
Give him a Boeing. Give him a Boeing. Let that stuff fall out the sky. That CEO knew good and well that stuff wasn't testing right. So, all right, you guys. It's 9:30 at night here. All right, here we go. What else we got? Are there any sovereign countries in the world whose economics and politics aren't influenced by the West? No.
China.
But they're still influenced. I mean, like, they're responding to the West right now.
They're not being dragged by their nose.
Right. So, but grassroots gardener, our economic systems are global and they're all interconnected. So there is not going to be a country on the planet that is not at least partially connected, influenced by the United States. Maybe the question you are asking, as Rick said, is are they dominated and or under the control power of the United States, like Western Europe has been?
But they're pulling themselves away.
They're pulling themselves away, but they did that. They did that. They did it originally. They were not coerced. After World War II, America said, look, we got you. We'll do the defense thing. Y'all get your little defenses together, but we'll be the main defender, right? We're going to create this NATO thing, but we'll be the main defender. You guys build your country back up. The melon felon doesn't know the history. That's why he's acting the way he does, right? So besides Western Europe, which as Rick said, is pulling away, I would say the BRICS nations are nations and their partners are nations that are doing what they need to do to have economic sovereignty and more power over their economic well-being. And I frame it that way because in the next 5 to 7 years, there's still not going to be a country that does not have some connection or influence that is not connection or influenced by the United States. I mean, our reach is just too broad right now, right? But it's on the decline. It is definitely on the decline. So that ain't gonna be forever. I'm hearing Uruguay is up and coming. Yep. What say you? Yep. Uruguay was on our list. We have a friend that lives in Uruguay and he loves it. And he's from Colorado and he's younger. Very affordable because he's younger, like in his 30s, maybe late 30s by now. I don't know. Time just mushes together. But he was able to bring his younger brother who has some special needs with him, and he was able to afford to bring him with him so that he could have better quality of life as well. So Uruguay is definitely on our list, and looking for to see what the requirements are for their residency. So the only reason why it wasn't on the top of the list is because it's so far down there. It's down there, right? It's like South Africa. And so that's the reason South Africa is not on the list, because both of them are so far down there. They're so far from a lot of the other places we want to travel to. Otherwise, it would have been in the top. I was born abroad to American Black parents from Chicago. But Texas gives me grief at every turn. Yeah. Have a go bag, and my husband has my birth certificate. Has my certificate of birth abroad. So, were you born to military parents, or did they just happen to be living abroad when you were born? That's interesting. And the ABX girl says, also keep in mind, China is working with my Caribbean islands for investments now. Yeah, look, China's working with everybody.
Yeah,
China is working with everybody. And I remember when I was in undergrad, and they were saying that by the time we were adults, that we would all have to learn Japanese because we would all be working for the Japanese. That didn't happen. But if they're saying that I could see us working for China, I could see that happening. First of all, there's so many more Chinese than there are Japanese. That's number one, right? So sheer volume, sheer numbers saying something. But this is like the perfect confluence of America's demise, because 78 million people decided to throw the global economy into disarray. 78 million people on this globe had the power to throw the whole global economy in disarray. Mm-hmm. And the average person of that 78 million probably cannot even spell the word disarray, and probably doesn't know what it means. He knows his people are low IQ. That's why he calls everybody else low IQ. Right? Is it smart to borrow from our 401k to accelerate the move? I don't know.
Yeah, that's
there's too many other variables, right? Do you have other debt? Do you have debt? Do you have credit card debt? Do you have a car note? Not a mortgage, because you could probably sell your house or condo for more than you owe, so that doesn't count. But your car, you might be upside down, or you might just be at break even. So those are questions that I would ask. What is your current tax rate, and what will you be taxed at? Are you 59 and a half, so you avoid the penalties, but still are taxed, right? There's too many you need to schedule a call, baby girl. There's too many questions to answer, but these are the questions that you should be asking yourself. If I had reached full fire, I might consider taking money out of my 401k, even if I were not 59 and a half. Right. But like, if I only have 100 or 200,000, I don't know, like, there's too many variables. There's too many variables, but hopefully we gave you some questions to ask yourself. So truth, favor, blessed, as is relocating to Mexico, Portugal, or any Latin. Okay, we answered that one. I don't care what they try. We are leaving. Will account for the new taxes if I must. Okay, we read that. Daughter will be in UK. Yes. And so, like, we keep telling people, do not get into debt with these American universities. There's no reason to do that. I thought when I was when our youngest was college age and when I was in college, I thought that going to school in Britain or going to school in Germany or someplace like that, where I knew they taught in English, was more expensive, but actually it was less expensive. I didn't know. And we didn't have the internets when I was that age to find out. I would have had to, go right to the thing or go to the office and look up in some book or whatever have you, right? I am working my behind off to get the heck out of here. Being in Portugal for the meetup gave me all the clarity I need. Yay, Amber. Good to hear that. Working the program as we speak. Yay, yay, yay. Yes. That's what we want. That's what we wanted. That's why we did what we did with the meetup. This was the first time that we made sure that we gave people a lot of opportunities,
different options,
to network and to fellowship with other like-minded people so that you guys could find accountability partners, friends, and all of that. Portugal was not necessarily the place for everybody, but hopefully it gave you some inspiration, right? They will force us out and we'll be surprised how many of us will take that offer, right? ABX, right?
Hey, Teddy.
Did you hear that Portugal might? Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Teddy, yes. These people. I love Portugal. I do. I do. I do. I do. But the bureaucracy and the overnight changes that they think they can just enact overnight. Like, how long did it take to roll out the ACA? Almost 4 years, you guys. I don't know if you remember. It almost took 4 years. Some things happened right away, like the anything that was preventative had no copay and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the marketplaces and all of that, that took years.
Took
Portugal tried to split up a department and roll out. Now I don't know how long before us getting here this had been in the works, but it seemed like they tried to do this in like 9 months, and it was a disaster. And I think even they will admit it was a disaster. The employees were unhappy, overworked. Asking to pull doubles and triples or whatever, and no days off and underpaid and all this other nonsense. Y'all, they were going through it. So yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. We'll see what they do. Do y'all think people will start giving up their passports as a result of this? Well, you can't give up your passport because then you'll be stateless, right? And so when you think about the birthright citizenship issue, I hope that the courts and even the stupid Supreme Court fight back on this. I know that it looks like he had a win with that other with the decision that just came down yesterday or the day before.
Other federal courts, yeah.
But about national injunctions from a federal court, right? But that didn't necessarily address the birthright citizenship issue, and so I just cannot conceive of all of these Americans being stateless. I mean, there's a boatload of Americans, adults even, that would be stateless if they got rid of that. These people, I don't know. It's like they don't connect the dots. Oh my gosh. So if this, then that. then this, then that, then this, then that, then this, then that. Have you thought about all that shit? I don't think the melon felon has thought about any of it. And the people around him, I don't think have thought about even the evil, 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 dastardly, diabolical person that is Miller.
Stephen Miller.
I don't even think he's connected the damn dots. Are you saying that required minimum distributions are not mandatory if one resides outside of the U.S.? No, I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is, or what they're saying, I should say, is that they are planning to raise the taxes that you have to pay, the automatic taxes that you have to pay. Now, of course, you're supposed to, it's 30% unless you do your taxes right today. So they want to raise it for people who don't do their taxes right to 35%. For periodic payments, and 50% if you move it all at once. 50%. So if you save $300,000, now you walk away with $150,000. Are you frigging kidding me right now? Y'all, call your senators. Call your senators. The phone number. Call your congresspeople, call your senators. The phone number is 202-224-3121. 202-224-3121. Okay, we're going to get to student loan forgiveness and how they are changing that. Taxation on retirement accounts is slightly higher than Portugal tax laws. I don't know how Portugal taxes retirement accounts. And I don't know if they consider that income or earned income or passive income. I would assume passive income, but I don't know. What they're supposed to do is treat it the same way America would treat it, is my understanding. But we're not tax people, so we just play one on TV. Late filers are usually business owners and or the 1%. Oh, okay, that's us. We ain't the 1%, but we're definitely business owners, right? And so, oh my gosh, and we've been business owners the whole time that we have been married, and it's such a pain in the butt to do the taxes. They don't have the manpower anymore to enforce. They need the forms so AI can scrape the data to find you, right? Right? Like I'm hip to that, Skip. I am hip to that, Skip. Because it's so obvious what they are trying to do, in my opinion. Okay, how do I get this up there? Why is it doing this? Why is it not coming up? Isn't that weird?
Did you pin it to the top or something?
It should be in starred, but like
right.
I'm not seeing the starred anymore. Let me star something. So it should be there, but it's not. Okay, Dennis, we see you, but it's not letting me put your comment up. And Dennis is always so generous. So while I look for his comment, I'm just going to say thank you because he is always so generous. And of course, all super thanks, super chat money goes to our scholarship fund for Beyond the Bling, our financial independence program for late bloomers. It's both, Teddy. It's both. And I'm not going to say incompetency. I'm going to say a lack of systems. Like they could just be a lot more efficient. So that's the thing. All right. I'm marking these. And Dennis, there you are. So thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
This is just P 2025 legislation. Do you think Mandami's win signals a shift to the left is coming across the U.S.? MAGAs and even Dems are losing their minds.
I hope it does.
and are so
I
worried.
hope it does.
As a New Yorker, I look forward to seeing what he can do. Okay, so Dennis, I didn't know that you lived in New York. Um, the problem with Black folks is that we're very pragmatic. And like I was on the Obama train from minute one. From minute one, I was on the Obama train. But I'm going to tell you, as we said last week or the week before last, whatever, I was out there at the very beginning. His very first canvassing in Denver was like May 17th, 2007. And I was out there. And then Black folks were like, we voting for Hillary. Because Black folks vote for who they think is going to win and will listen to them when they complain. And they didn't think Obama could win. After he won Iowa, then they jumped on the bandwagon. Johnny come latelys, right? Then they jumped on the bandwagon. So I say that to say, I saw them Black folks outside of Eric Adams' campaign rally the other day. They don't know that he was a Republican. He's like, the party left me. Yeah, but you were a Republican. So you were part of the John McCain, Sarah Palin, Mitt Romney bullcrap that ushered in the melon felon. So you can talk all you want about being, just right of center or whatever, and now call yourself a Democrat, Eric Adams, but you don't act like a Democrat. And I know that stop and frisk has gone up under you. It was gone under de Blasio. De Blasio, is that his name? De Blasio. But it was up under you. That's what I know. I know after school programs were cut under Eric Adams. And then we got Bill Clinton, a former president, weighing in on a mayoral race. Really, Bill? Well, I guess, people who are into being sexual offenders stick together.
Damn.
I said it. Right? And then homeboy from South Carolina, what's his name? Congressman.
Lindsey?
No, Black dude. He also Clyburn.
Oh, Jim Clyburn.
He's the reason why we had Joe Biden. I didn't vote for Joe Biden. I did not. I voted for Joe Biden in the general, but I did not vote for Joe Biden in the primary. He's the reason why we got Biden, Clyburn, because he convinced all them Black people down in South Carolina to vote for Joe Biden's old behind.
Yeah, that old guard needs to go away.
They need to go away. And so that's what I'm saying. If you are, I wasn't saying that here. I was saying this in the chitty chat. A Republican or a Democrat's going to win 9 times out of 10. So register as a Democrat so that you can vote in the primary and get the old guard out. Get them out. Because right now, AIPAC, which is the lobbying arm for Israel, they say they're an American firm, but they do Israel's bidding. They're the ones who control the primaries in the Democratic Party. They throw money and got out Cori Bush, right, from Missouri, right? They got off Jamal from New York, right? And they primaried some other people. They were not successful. They didn't get out Ilhan Omar. They did not get out Jayapal. They were not able to do that, but they tried. Right? And so people power trumps their power. No pun intended. No pun intended. Whatever. So I think, as Dennis was asking, I hope that this is a wake-up call. I don't care about the old guard, because if you understand how the party works, it doesn't really matter what they think. Obviously, he won. But I hope it inspires other people who are very progressive to unapologetically run and to learn how to articulate what they believe in and not back down. Right? Not back down, not do that pivot. And, well, the question that should be answered is, and all that kind of nonsense. So I hope, and I'm very excited. I've been following this ever since he started gaining traction. I've been following, and I was really, really happy to see that he won, and he won decisively in the first round, which is something to be said.
Yeah, you don't need another Mario Cuomo. You just don't need that. His time has passed.
His time has been like, why?
Yeah,
Why
what's the
Cuomo?
purpose?
Like, what? See, it's a sickness, y'all. Just like the oligarchs. You done been governor of one of the richest states in the world. You got caught with your hands in the till, so to speak, right? Doing stuff you weren't supposed to be doing. Your career's over. I know you're looking at the melon felon and you're like, well, he got 34 felonies. Yeah, but he Teflon. You ain't Teflon. And you're a Democrat, and Democrats don't put up with that stuff. I know, right? So, what more does a person need? What is the need to feel like you got to have some kind of power position? It's a sickness. It's a sickness, and I'm glad he lost. He did not deserve to win. He did not do what was necessary to try and win. He didn't act like he wanted the job, quite frankly. Or he was just so arrogant, he thought he had it in the bag. I hate to be Debbie Downer on our Black electeds, but I can't argue with you, Karen. I cannot argue with you. Right? He probably was one of the ones not endorsing Obama too back in the day. I already got on who's our good trouble person, John Lewis, about that nonsense. All right. Good summer thunderstorm. Good. Maybe you won't get any. Good afternoon. I booked a trip to Greece in October. Good. And I will be flying from California to Greece. I'm hearing that I may have trouble returning to California. Any advice? I would say take the face and thumbprint or whatever controls off of your phone. Just have it code so that they can't force you to open it. If that's what if you're talking about ICE stuff, I would suggest that you do that. Hopefully you have global entry or TSA. I would think that would help, but not necessarily. We're trying to figure out the stuff ourselves. It is not necessarily safe to return to America and think that you should just be able to get in, right? I don't know what they're doing. I know it's illegal, but they're being allowed to do it, and it makes no sense. They're racially profiling people and everything else. If you do not have a strong social media presence, I doubt you'll have any issues. Okay. I didn't have any issues when my daddy died. I did not. So.
But you got to go with the stewardess and crew too.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Are there any disabled veteran expats here? Do you mean here in the chat or do you mean in Portugal? Because there are folks who are on disability from the military.
I think they mean here in the chat.
Yes, you might be here in the chat, but I don't know any veterans who appear to have a disability. 47 is working in a plan due in 30 days. Yeah, something's supposed to go down in July. I can't remember what it is. Do not become stateless. That's right. There is no guarantee that any country will allow you in. Exactly. You cannot give up your passport until you have another passport in hand, people. So that's why we are looking at, because even if they grandfather us in for 5 years for here in Portugal, it still takes anywhere from 18 months to 3 years for it to actually go through. All right. And so that, there's no way to denounce citizenship in the United States until we have another passport.
Right.
We are looking at getting an African passport through DNA. There are some countries that will allow that. I'm still not comfortable giving up our United States citizenship, I don't know that there is an African passport that is as strong as an American passport right now. Right? So, since I'm on COBRA for my medical, oh my God, insurance, I've decided to get another knee replacement ASAP, hopefully within the next 2 to 3 months. I mean, COBRA is expensive. Greta, don't you qualify for ACA?
ACA.
And wouldn't ACA be less expensive?
COBRA's
always really, really expensive. UK is way less expensive, and there are scholarships for international students. Yep. There is no EFC in UK, so scholarships can completely replace loans and or out of pocket. I love it.
So that's a good segue into your student loans.
It is a good segue. So let's take that off and go ahead and get back to it. So student loan forgiveness for existing borrowers. All right. What is the current standard? So this is for existing borrowers. So if you already have a student loan, if you're a parent, stay tuned because we're going to get to what they're going to do with the new folks. Okay. So current standard forgiveness under the current income driven replacement plan, right? IDR. There's 2 different programs, Repay and Save. Federal student loan forgiveness is available after 20 or 25 years or qualifying payments, depending on the plan or loan type, right? So 20 to 25 years of regular payments, and you can get some loan forgiveness. If you work in public service, it's 10 years, right? Or 120 qualifying repayments for those eligible public service workers. Now, the proposed changes.
So the proposed change, the bill phases out most current income-driven plans by 2028. Existing borrowers will be moved to a revised income-based repayment IBR plan. Loans before June 30th, 2013, 15% of discretionary income forgiveness after 25 years.
So forgiveness after 25 years instead of 20 years. And an automatic payment of 15% of discretionary income. Where's my phone? Because we're going to do some math in a minute. Loans after July 1st, 2014, it's 10% of discretionary income and forgiveness after 20 years. Now, the definition of discretionary income is any income above 150% of the federal poverty line guidelines. Mm-hmm. All right. So the federal poverty guidelines for a single person in 2024 is $15,060. $15,060 is the federal poverty guideline. 150% of that would be 22,500 or 22,600 if you just want to round it up. All right. For a household of 2, it would be the 20,000 plus 1.5, giving you 30,660. So for a couple, the poverty guideline is $30,060. $30,060. So 150% of that would be about $45,000, right? So the exact 2025 figures will be published by the HHS, but these numbers provide a close estimate. Look, y'all. So that means, like, if you make $50,000, then, and you are a single person. So I'm going to say $50,000, and that is adjusted gross income. So you're taking home $50,000, and we're going to subtract 22,590, which is 150% of poverty. And the leftover amount is $27,410. You will have to pay 15% of that if you got your loan before 2013 on back, like me. So times 0.15. Wait, I was supposed to divide that by 12. There we go. That gives a monthly payment of $342. $342, and you're only bringing home $50,000 a year. It's crazy. So the 10-year forgiveness program for public workers has not been changed right now. Okay, so that has been left out of the bill. Now, good news. Here's the good news. There's a little bit of good news for new borrowers. All right. So starting July 1st, 2026, the proposal for new borrowers, it says it's even worse. It is worse, but and I wrote that. But that was before I read one of the things that is actually different. But some of it is even worse. For instance, there's no longer a 20 to 25 year thing. Now it's like 30 years. Okay, something stupid. So we suggest going to a university outside of the United States. You know that. So there's only two federal loan options: a new standard plan, fixed payments over 10 to 25 years, depending on the loan amount. That means that some will be due in 10 years, meaning a higher payment. And then the repayment assistance plan. That's going to take the place of the income-based repayment plan because it's income driven. The Parent Plus loan, first of all, don't do that. Don't do that. If they haven't changed, those Parent Plus loans are a death trap. You can't get out. Do not do it. Just don't do it. Anyway, they're being capped at $20,000 per student per year and $65,000 total. $65,000 total. That's 1 year at a lot of universities in the United States. That $65,000 will get you a BA and a master's, and you'll still have money left over here in Europe. The Grad Plus loans are eliminated, and they're going to be capped. Grad Plus loans are loans eliminated. Grad students capped at $20,000 per year. But wait, if it's eliminated, professional students at $50,000 per year. Okay, so it's probably going to become another program. So under the repayment program, now here's the good news. Under the repayment program where it is income based, payments start as low as $10 per month. Unless you were at poverty level and made nothing under the current plan, I didn't know anybody who was paying $10 a month. I'm sure you could get there if you knew how to work the system, because it goes off of your adjusted gross income, right? So if you've got enough write-offs, et cetera, et cetera. So $10 a month, capped at 10% of adjusted gross income. So it's capped at 10% as opposed to the 15% that people like me would have to pay. So 10% of adjusted gross income for earnings over $100,000 a year. Borrowers get a $50 monthly reduction for each qualifying dependent. So if you're an adult and you've got kids, you get a little discount in how much you have to pay per month for each dependent. No accrual of unpaid interest. That's good. Under the current loans, one loan, there's one government loan where the interest accrues, and there's one that it doesn't. And I think it's subsidized or non-subsidized. I think that's what they're called. So the subsidized loan, it doesn't accrue. The unsubsidized, it does accrue. So they're saying no accrual of unpaid interest. If payment doesn't cover at least $50 of principal, the principal is reduced by $50 automatically. That's a good thing. Loan forgiveness after 30 years. 30 years, y'all. So those are the changes that are going to happen if this bill is passed as it is written today. I don't like that student loan thing. I don't like the fact that the income-based repayment plan is going to some like 15% flat thing. You know, it's just bad. It's just bad. So FBAR threshold, that's going to change, right? The foreign income tax credit, that's going to be reduced. A surtax, there's going to be a surtax for income from unfair countries on foreign-based income.
5 to 20%.
5 to 20%. Gift inheritance reporting. That threshold is going to come down. So there's going to be more reporting and more, onerous things that you have to do with that. They're going to stop, they're trying to reduce the deadline for filing our taxes or filing our extension from June back down to April for anybody who lives outside of the country. And we just talked about the student loan forgiveness and the changes to that. So this big, ugly, audacious bill will make U.S. tax expat tax compliance more burdensome.
Yeah.
Right? Lower reporting thresholds, potentially reduction or elimination of some key tax benefits. Right? The student loan changes. It just goes on and on and on. And because we've talked about it ad nauseum before, we ain't even talked about the cuts to Medicaid, Medicare, SNAP benefits, and all of that stuff. So if you are in the sandwich generation and you are trying to help parents, these cuts to Medicare, these cuts to Medicaid, that is how I was able to keep my parents in assisted living, right? In one of the best assisted livings that you could be in. Like they went on a cruise. They took their clients on a cruise, y'all. All right. Yeah, it was just a little 3-day cruise down to Mexico, but still, how many nursing homes do you know that do that? I'm able to do that because Medicaid and Medicare help pay and fray the cost, and we don't have to pay the whole amount. If you're doing that and you've got kids in college, and you may still have student loans yourself, how's this going to work? How is this going to work? I just don't see how it can work. So be prepared. Be prepared. And that's what we have for you. We were going to get to a checklist for moving or retiring abroad in the next 12 months. I wrote that out. But we'll talk about that on Thursday. Okay, we'll talk about that on Thursday. We've been on for an hour and a half, so we'll answer your questions and let you go. Thank you, Latrice. I'm so grateful for your channel. Thank you so much for breaking down parts of the big, horrible bill that no one else is talking about. You're very welcome. This community keeps me moving forward through the darkness. Yes, 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 yes. And thank you so much. Our community thanks you for the generous donation. We so appreciate it. Andrew Cuomo can kiss my black behind, and so can Gavin Newsom. I don't care what he's been doing and saying lately. I know when he started his podcast, who he had on his little podcast, and he's giving a voice to people who are filled with hate and who are hate mongers. So both of those white men can kiss my black behind. They will not be getting my vote. They will not be getting my vote. No way. No way. As a matter of fact, with Cuomo and the 13 to 20 or so odd women who came against him and said that there was sexual harassment or whatever, like if he won the primary, I probably wouldn't even vote that one. That like the country's already screwed. So I'm gonna put another sex predator in there? No. I no. Can't do it. Can't do it. Cannot do it. I'm not saying, Ashira, that everyone who AIPAC gets behind is not worthy of a vote. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that they sometimes go against the Black community's best interests, okay? Because they don't care about us and they're not thinking about us. Mm-hmm. Have the Latin Americans learned anything, or do they still cleave to the GOP? I don't know that Latin Americans necessarily cleave to the GOP. I think it is Latin Americans who come from countries that have autocrats that call themselves either socialist or communist, and they're not learned enough to know that, number one, it would be very hard for the United States to become a communist country. Like, we have a constitution, and voting for a Democrat will never equal communism or pure socialism. At best, democratic socialism, which we already have. which we already have, but they don't know the difference, right? That's the problem. They don't know the difference. They can't tell the difference between Venezuela and France. Venezuela is an autocratic socialist country. France is a democratic socialist country. They get to vote, right? They get to protest. They get to do all the things, and they're part of the European Union, so they've got a currency that makes sense. Venezuela, on the other hand, has a dictator who used to be a bus driver who has been in there ad nauseum for God only knows how long, and appointed his sister-in-law as Minister of Happiness.
Minister of Happiness.
How do I know? Because my Spanish tutor lives in Venezuela. That's how I know. It's like, you cannot make this stuff up. You cannot make it up. Oh my gosh. Hi, wise words. I thought the networking at the June OBU meetup was the standard. No. That was the first time. Last year, we invited people to do St. Anthony's with us, but we didn't tell people in advance. So there were only about 10 people from the meetup. And we did invite people to go to brunch with us on Saturday. But again, we didn't tell people in advance. So there was only about 15 or so people there. This time we let y'all know way, way, way in advance from the beginning what we were going to be doing. And so that's why we had like 50 people for St. Anthony's Day and for brunch and all of that. So yeah, this time was different, and I think it made a big difference. I saw the camaraderie build and grow, so that by the time we had our official meetup reception, it's like y'all were old friends.
You knew each other,
right? My girlfriend just moved to Mexico, was upside down in car note, and she just handed the keys back to the dealer and walked away. Oh my God, what does she care if her credit goes down? She's out. Look, do what you have to do. We would never suggest somebody do that, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know when you might have to move back and you might need that credit. That's number one. Number two, if you wanted to buy a house here in Portugal, they're going to pull up that credit report and they're going to see that. Now, it's not the end all be all to whether they will give you the loan or not, but it will have an effect. And they will want to see, and they're going to ask you, well, here you have this write-off. What's this about, right? So, but everybody's got to do what everybody's got to do for themselves. And I ain't mad at her. Because first of all, they shouldn't be charging all that dang old money for them cars anyway, especially when they fall apart. You just hit them a little bit and they crumple. Elon's car the truck thing falling apart, using the wrong glue and stuff. They got panels falling off. I mean, y'all.
Don't get her started.
That's a tax question. If you have a 401k loan, you may not be able to contribute or will be taxed if you do not pay it back. Okay, I'm not sure.
She was asking about that borrowing against her 401k. Not hers, but when somebody else
taking out. Yeah. You need to talk to the person who wanted to take out money from their 401k to get out of Dodge. You need to talk to a tax person. That's number one. But I do remember taking money out of my 401k for the down payment on the condo that we have in LA way, way, way back.
But you could do that for real estate.
Yes, but in order not to get penalized, I had to pay it back within a year or something like that. Okay, so I
don't know what the rules have changed or whatever.
Exactly. I'm looking at 55 now and looking to a 10 years time of retirement and savings to then move abroad. Is that a good idea or what? I don't know where you're at.
Depends on your time.
Run Boy Productions. I don't know where you're at. If you have no debt, and depending upon how much money you've already saved, 10 years may be too much time. You might not need 10 years, right? I think people can do it within 8 years if you're starting from scratch. 8 years. But let's assume that the United States is going to survive for another 10 to 20 years. And let's assume that there will be Social Security for you when you are 62. That's 7 years away. So what I would do if I were you is I would do it the other way around. Okay. Retiring at 65. Okay. But I'm sure you would like to retire earlier. So what I would do is decide how much money I need to retire based upon my future expenses, etc. Right? How much money do I need to retire? And then I would divide that by the number of years that you think you got in you to work. So let's just say you need another $200,000 and you say, you know what? I got 7 years, but 10 years, oof, I don't know. Or I got 5 years, right? I would divide the amount of money by 5 years and find a way to save that. And that may mean a side hustle, et cetera, et cetera. That's what I would do. Again, if you want personalized help, we do offer one-on-one coaching where we go over the numbers, y'all. So you got to be willing to share your numbers. Come with what your expenses are, what your income is, what your assets are, and what your debt is. And then we can go from there and help you develop a plan to get to retirement ASAP. Okay. But it's hard to just like answer these questions in a vacuum.
Too many variables.
Exactly.
Too many variables.
Exactly. All right. Run Boy Productions. All right. Let's see what else you guys are talking about. And then we are going to let you go. I'm going to go in all the way to the bottom. Okay, y'all are talking about something else. So there it is. If you want one-on-one consultation, please smash that like button and subscribe. We appreciate it, Dom. We appreciate it so, so much. We believe that this is information that our community needs. If you believe it too, share this video with a friend or family member and subscribe and hit that like button. Mondami will not become mayor of New York. The elites, Wall Street, and MAGA will back Eric Adams and the Guardian Angel Bro. Hey, Andy, if you want Mondami to become the mayor of New York, then help him become the mayor of New York. They said the same thing about Obama. And all of those people came against Obama. The Democratic establishment, the Clinton machine, right? All that stuff, as well as Tavis Smiley and, he wasn't black enough. He too black. He this, he that, right? They all came against him. Wall Street did. APAC did, they called him a Muslim. They said he wanted to do Sharia law. I learned some stuff about Islam that I never knew, right? He went to a madrasa. I didn't know what a madrasa was, right? All that stuff they threw at him. Remember when he and Michelle did this? What is that? A terrorist fist jab? Like they threw it all at him.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you want Mr. Mondami to become, Representative Mondami, to become the next mayor of New York, y'all can make it happen. You can make it happen. Okay? People power trumps those few people every day of the week. Okay? Every day of the week. And, what's his name? Cuomo spent $36 million. Mondami raised $8 to $9 million.
That kind of tells you something. Get out there and vote for him.
Exactly. And tell a friend. And tell a friend. Loved all the chances to meet everyone and see them over and over again. Right, Jackie? So cool. So cool. Florida Cubans love 47. I will vote for Donald Trump. Oh, Oh, that's right. That person got deported, didn't they?
No, her husband got deported.
Yeah. He was
Was
in the
he
band
singing
too.
too?
Yeah.
Did he say, Lucy, you got some explaining to do? You got me deported.
She cried. That's not what I voted for. This is exactly what you voted for. And then you have the day that you voted for, woman.
You got some explaining to do. It's P man.
Um, no, I think the average American is okay for now, right? Unless you have, a large social following and you're outspoken about the melon felon. I think the average American is okay for
Yeah.
now, right? Um, we'll see if that's still the case at the end of the summer, because this summer is going to be the summer that either America will have a slower decline or it's going down the tubes in a couple of years. If the people rise up this summer like they're supposed to do, slower decline. If they don't, 2 or 3 years. And then if you're going to Brazil in the spring or the winter, then that changes things, right? I don't know what they're doing. I don't know, y'all. And I think like there's something wrong. There is something wrong when the average American is afraid to leave home because he think or she thinks that they think that they cannot get back in. What is wrong with this picture? What is wrong with this picture? Again, the phone number to call your senator or congressperson is 202 224 3121. That's 202 224 3121. Call your representatives and tell them to kill this bill. Kill it. And to stand the hell up. I don't care if they're red or blue, right or left. You let them know this is right versus wrong, and what this man is doing is wrong. I'm coming to Portugal in October. Can I meet you and Rick and other expats? Yeah, just send us an email if we're in town.
Yeah, we're available.
If we're in town, and I know we missed one, we missed one couple, and had some mix up on our calendar, and they were there at that restaurant waiting, and we felt so bad. I'm in the Parent Plus loan death trap, right? Didn't know it was adjustable. That's the problem. I couldn't remember what the issue was. I just remember thinking, oh, I'm never getting that. Took it out at 3%. It's now at 7.5%. You see that? Thankfully, it's a small balance. See, that it's a trap. It is a trap. All right, y'all. I'm trying to rob the blue state residents with those guidelines, because you can't live anywhere but with family or in public housing with those payments in areas like New York City area or any metro area. Oh, they are trying to rob blue state residents. Oh, yeah, probably. Probably. I'm desperate to not get stuck here in the USA. What is the visa that I can get quickly? Would that be Mexico? Yes. Yes.
Mexico, Panama.
Um, seems like you need.
You have to go to Panama.
Seems like you need insurance in Panama. It seems like it seems like Panama and Costa Rica had one more qualification, one more hoop than Mexico, but still a lot easier than Portugal. So I would start with Mexico. Costa Rica and Panama both will allow you to only have to check in once a year or once every 2 years or something like that. And they don't. I know they don't require like a 1 year lease on a house or or apartment, right? I know they don't require that. But they might require the FBI background check. And it seemed like one of them might have required private insurance. So that would make Mexico the easiest.
And just know things change.
Things change every
Things
day, every
change.
moment, every day. Thinking about moving to Portugal, what is an approximate monthly income I'll need and approximate amount of money to move from the USA? You may have answered this already. Yeah, so we weren't talking about moving abroad per se today, but um, if you get our Move Abroad toolkit or our Ready to Retire toolkit, the cost of living databases links are in those toolkits, okay? That information is in the description below. How much money will you need to live here? It depends, right? You can live here on $1,000 a month or $6,000 a month. I don't know if you would be happy living here on $1,000 a month, but I know there's some Portuguese people here who live on $1,000 a month. Rent is going to be your most expensive thing. I would say whatever you are paying for a mortgage and or rent right now is probably what you can live on all in here.
Here. Yeah.
Okay. So that may be a good example. But if you get the Ready to Retire toolkit or the Move Abroad toolkit, it will have the databases in there with cost of living. Because if it's just you, that's one price. If it's you and somebody else, that's another price, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Rick and I saved 40,000 euro for our move abroad, or dollars. I'm sorry, $40,000. That included the scouting trips. That included any professional help that we get. That included the moves themselves, the luggage, the this, the that, the flights. That also was for, like, we had to put down, 2 months deposit and 2 months in advance for the apartment and all of that kind of stuff. So that included all of that. And we still had money left over, and it probably lasted us for another 6 months. Yeah. It's not a cheap thing to move to another continent. It's not. But it is less expensive to
Once
live
you
here.
get there. Yeah, once you're there.
Right? The least expensive thing to do is to be a digital nomad, right? And to bop around, because then you're putting your stuff in somebody's garage, right? You're selling most of it, putting your keepsakes in somebody's garage, and you're taking a couple of suitcases and just getting on the road. So you're not paying for a place while you're traveling. And if you throw house sitting into that mix as well,
expenses go down a whole lot
expenses go way down, way down. What I read on USA Today website, birthright citizenship, the measure is not retroactive, meaning it would only apply to babies born after it takes effects if allowed by the courts. It should not be allowed by the courts. It can't be allowed by the courts because you have to change the Constitution. Like, the court, I don't even know why it's even a question. You can't, it's in the Constitution. If you're born in the United States, you are a United States citizen, period, the end. It doesn't say if you're born in the United States and your parents were born in the United States. It doesn't say that. They need to change the Constitution if they want to change that. And a court can't say the Constitution is unconstitutional. That doesn't even make sense. Let's see, citizenship in other countries is revocable. I suggest that you keep your U.S. citizenship since it's not revocable for natural born citizens today. I mean, they're trying to revoke people's citizenship. The melon felon is, right? So, all right, you guys, I think we did it. I think we did it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to let you go. Again, we need to call our senators. We've got until tomorrow to try and stop this thing or to get it changed dramatically. This is going to hurt so many people. And even if you are financially secure, I'm sure that you have family members and other folks who are going to be devastated if this thing passes. And for those of us who live on the other side of the world or who live outside of the United States, they're just being buttholes and making things more onerous, right? And taking away some of our tax benefits. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
So, what is even more ridiculous, though, is they're disappearing people off the street. It doesn't get more ridiculous than that. That is just downright scary and just like, I don't even recognize the United States anymore. I do not recognize it. We believe that the United States needs to feel the pain of a Black brain drain. If you believe as we do, then we're asking you, what do you need? What do you need so you can get the hell out? If you need to put together a plan, we've got the Move Abroad Toolkit. That's in the description below. If you need a little bit more hand holding, again, we offer one-on-one coaching, and we can get you on the road. I'm trying to get, okay, wait, where is it? There it is. Okay. I can't copy and paste and talk at the same time. If you need one-on-one coaching, we're here to help. We can help you get your financial plan together. We can help you get your move abroad plan together. If you want to do a side hustle, we can help you get that together. We've got side hustle coaching specifically. And we have the side hustle challenge. The side hustle challenge is for 10 weeks. We're going to meet every other week on a Saturday. If money is the thing, if you know you've got a little bit of a pension, or you've got a little bit of Social Security, or you've got enough saved, but you know you're going to need more money, or if you just think that you're going to be bored, inevitably, we think that you should start it before you move, y'all. We started our YouTube channel before we moved. You've got to know if it's going to work and if you're going to like it, right? I just heard Stephanie saying that earlier, and I so agree. I so agree, right? And so if you need help to figure out, well, I've been a this or I've been a that all of my life. How can you? We're not talking about getting a job or training you to get a job someplace else in another country. We're talking to somebody a client yesterday about that. It's like, no, that's not what we're talking about. And we're not talking about buying some product or plan or something that's going, no. We're talking about building a side hustle from scratch based upon the knowledge that you already have, the passions and hobbies that you already have, skill sets you already have, etc., and what you like to do and what you want your future life to look like. All right. You can design a business that will fit your lifestyle, where you can be wherever you want to be, take the time off that you want to take off 90% of the time, like Rick and I do, right? And still bring in that extra income for the splurges, for the first class tickets, for the hell yeah money, et cetera, et cetera. Like when Adelia Borchade and Piggy Girl Travel said she was going to Italy. And we're like, shoot, we want to meet you over there. Hell yeah, we'll meet you over there. And on the drop of a dime, in 2 weeks, we were in Italy, spending a week in Italy, hanging out with Adelia, right? We could do that because we had put money aside. If any of that sounds interesting, all right, hit us up. Get into our Beyond the Bling program, get the Move Abroad Toolkit, or book time with us. Join the channel, join Fire Over 50. And with that, we will see you on Thursday, where we'll talk about what are we talking about on Thursday? Let me see. I will go back to the end. Can we take this off? There we go. Here we go. All right. All the way at the end. A checklist for moving or retiring abroad in the next 12 months. So that's what we're going to talk about on Thursday. So we'll see you at 5 o'clock Eastern time on Thursday. We love you. Bye.